The Impressionist Modern Art evening sale on the 22nd of June in London includes some exceptional and rare works. It's led by Egon Schiele's magnificent landscape being sold by the Leopold Museum in Vienna, and further includes a great Giacometti lifetime cast of his iconic sculpture, Trois Hommes qui Marchent, and a stunning late Picasso, Le Baiser, from his celebrated series of passionate embraces from 1969. The sale further includes a number of other rare works, many of which have never before appeared at auction, ranging from lifetime casts by Rodin, a superb Lautrec, works by Cézanne and Renoir, through to late Miro and Magritte. Undoubtedly, the highlight of the Sotheby's June sale is this cityscape by the Austrian artist Egon Schiele from 1914. It's very rare for a cityscape by Schiele to come to auction. This is the first time in many decades that a work of this importance appears. Here we see the artist taking a subject that is inspired by the medieval city of Krumau. There are very much two moods in play in this painting. On the one hand, you get this densely packed houses, and there's a kind of sense of the old city, unchanged through centuries. And then you get this incredibly lively, almost childlike input of the washing line, which traverses the whole foreground of the picture plane, bringing in colour. They're almost like children's toys. So you get this amazing contrast and a real sense of people in what is an unpopulated picture, but the sense of the town is exactly evoked in this extraordinary, vivid and brilliantly composed cityscape.
Well, the sculptural highlight of this sale is definitely this wonderful Giacometti group of three walking men, that iconic subject, so important to Giacometti in his career. It's inspired, according to the artist, by his experience of urban life, the way people move across urban spaces, often in close proximity, but without any relation to each other. It's the sort of isolation of modern man. And it's got this rather wonderful patination, which is, I think, almost unique to Giacometti, in that there's a particular chemical process that he achieved in the actual casting, which ensures that no two casts are exactly the same, but this one has got a particular richness.
In addition to Giacometti's Trois Hommes qui Marchent, we also have this fabulous bronze Piccolo Cavallo by Marino Marini. The Giacometti dated to 1948. This Marini sculpture dates to 1950, just a few years later, and shares with it all that post-war angst and existentialism that so interested sculptors of that period. What marks this out as a very special cast are the wonderful dimensions, domestic scale of this sculpture, in addition to the surface finish with the cold-chased surfaces reflecting the copper hues and the blue paint applied cold after the casting. And in addition to that, it has an exceptionally crisp foundry stamp. So all in all, this really is quite a superb example of its type. We also have two beautiful works by Rodin, both lifetime casts produced in the Alexis Roudier foundry in Paris. One is the Ève Petite Modèle, 75 centimeters high, and the other a small bronze figure of Pierre de Visson, one of the burghers of Calais. And both these works come from private collections.
In Picasso's 1969 oil painting, Couple, Le Baiser, we see one of his boldest and most intense interpretations of the theme of the lovers, which so dominated his late work. Here, in contrast to some of the horizontal compositions, where you see the artist at his easel, separated by the easel, and then the lover or model, here they're brought together in this extraordinarily intense and powerful composition where the lovers almost merge into one central figure. The sale includes another Picasso oil from the 1960s, this one titled L'homme à la pipe et nu couché, and here we have the artist figure with the pipe and the nude model.
La Luseuse from 1889 is a masterpiece by Toulouse-Lautrec. The subject is Hélène Vary, a neighbor of Toulouse-Lautrec's, who does appear in many other paintings by the artist. He's placing the sitter slightly diagonally to the right, And the table serves as a foreground for us, the audience, to enter a very intimate world of reading her book. Here the artist uses peinture à l'essence, which allows him to create these incredibly thick areas of impasto, of dry impasto, contrasted with other areas where he uses multiple layers of more translucent paint. Its history is phenomenal. It's been in the same collection since 1939, and it was last seen in public in 1964 in the Petit Palais in Paris.
This is an extraordinary painting by Van Dongen. It was executed circa 1905. What makes this painting very special is the composition. He cut the painting at the top over the horse, which makes it very dynamic and very modern. And the clown, or the red clown as it is also known, takes almost the entire composition. And even though it was painted over 100 years ago, it still strikes us by its modernity.
Painted in 1930, this is a rare example of Tamara de Lempicka's work to appear at auction. She spent her formative years in St. Petersburg and moved to Paris in 1918, and there came under the influence of the avant-garde of Cubism. But it was there also that she developed her very unique Art Deco style that draws on the glamorous life of 1920s and 30s Paris, but also looks forward to the years that she was to spend in Hollywood from 1940 onwards. And that's very much evoked in this fabulous female portrait titled La Dormeuse, with the model here with full blushing red lips and red nail varnish, evoked in this eloquent, sensual, erotic pose. Painted in 1932, this exquisite Paul Klee was executed shortly after he left the Bauhaus. Here he's treated the theme, it's called Stadtburg, castle, in a very particular way to create a sense not so much of linearity with these lines, both vertical and horizontal, but almost a fluid sense which gives a melodic, harmonious evocation of the theme. And he's partly created that through the technique itself, because he's built up the ground with gesso, with a kind of plaster, and then applied the oil and the tempera as a medium on top. And that gives this amazing, almost three-dimensional quality to the painting, which appears to pulsate as you look at it, and the lines almost shimmer in a fluid way.
Here we have a great work by Joan Miró, the Spanish master, from 1955. Intimate in scale, fantastic in composition, with a great title chosen by the artist, Vipère exaspéré devant l'oiseau rouge, adding another dimension to the painting. He's adding language to describe this magical scene of a snake, the viper, above this red bird in the night, highlighted here by the blue crescent and the star. He's then taking the tube and he's applying the paint directly onto the surface. Coming from a very important European collection, this Miró was exhibited in 1964 in the Tate Gallery and in a series of exhibitions that came after. We are so excited to handle the sale of this monumental canvas by Joan Miró, Femme à la voix de Rossignol dans la nuit from 1971, a title very carefully chosen by the artist to evoke this incredible theatrical, magical landscape of a nightingale in a night scene. The incredible scale of the painting is complemented by these blocks of colors, the yellow and the green and the black and this fantastic fiery red right in the middle of the composition, almost like the cape of a bullfighter. As with the majority of the works in our sale, it's the first time that it ever appears on the marketplace, and we're very excited to handle its sale.
So this is Magritte's L'Empire des Lumières, which is a phenomenal gouache by the artist. His view was that at any given time in the world, part of the world was in broad daylight and part of the world was in darkness. And the simple idea of bringing together these two things, it is so audacious. And if you look at it quickly, you can even see stars in the skies because you're so accustomed of night being night and day being day. And so this is an extremely powerful idea that he managed to develop, and that is why it became one of the most recognizable and important image in all of Magritte's art. On the same theme as the gouache, Magritte painted this oil, L'Empire des Lumières, in 1953. What strikes us is the visual paradox between the broad daylight and the expanse of the sky. and the nocturnal landscape. The strength of Magritte is to be able to extract light from the shadows and extract darkness from the light, as we can see on the clouds here, which are not completely white, which are quite subtle. And this is what makes this work so incredible, beautiful and mesmerizing.
My colleagues and I look forward to welcoming you at Sotheby's in London for the major series of Impressionist and Modern Art sales on the 22nd and 23rd of June. The exhibition opens on the 17th of June and we look forward to seeing you there.